Hi, I went on a trip recently, and I figured I should talk about it. So last week I was at the San Francisco Game Developers Conference. This is something that I go to pretty much every year. This was my 10th one. I did skip one year, but since the first one I went to, I've gone almost every year since then. It's a real good time. This one was a particularly good one of the best that I've been to. And I have a bunch of stuff to talk to about related to it. So, when I go to this conference, it's a week of me being at my most extroverted. I'm a very introverted person normally, but this is a yearly test of my socialization skills. So I'm in an environment where there are thousands of other people very much like me. We all just sort of intrinsically understand each other, and I can sit down and have a real good conversation with pretty much anybody who's there. And it's awesome. Being in an environment like that is pretty amazing. And that's pretty much the only time I get the opportunity to do that. So I try to really make the most of it. Every time I go, it gives me a little bit more practice actually socializing with people. So a little bit of history about me. I was homeschooled, and I did not learn to deal with people directly at the same pace as a typical person would going through public school and other environments like that. I was just at home with my siblings all day and parents sometimes when they were around. And I don't know, like my social skills are just different. So there was a lot of stuff I had to learn. I learned at my own pace. You know what my pace is. I go slowly and deliberately. Anyway, so social situation, this is a good place for me to learn more about this. So, yeah, I feel like I did a lot better this year. I applied some lessons I had taken from previous years, and had a real good time. Had some great conversations with people, and yeah, felt confident and at home, and it was real nice. I had a surplus of energy while I was there. Usually this is a really exhausting process for me, just physically, because I'm up and walking and standing and talking to people constantly, and just doing a whole lot of activity, more than I would in a typical day. But this year, everything was great. So I think the fitness effort that I went through in the previous year really paid off. I just felt unstoppable. Like I had so much energy when I was there. It was amazing. Was really nice. And I did not get sick. This has been a problem many times. I think the last 2 years that I had gone, I had to, both times after I got back, put my LPs on hold for a little while just because my voice needed some time to recover, especially last year. That was the worst it had ever been. I had heard some stuff about how cold virus spreads and things like that. And the thing that I did was I very deliberately avoided rubbing my eyes like this anytime I had not just freshly washed my hands. Because I hear touching your face, and in particular eyes and what is it, nose, mouth, something. I don't know. Eyes in particular are a place where the virus gets in. I can't prove that that's the reason I didn't get sick, but I did it and I didn't get sick, so I'll take that as a win. On Tuesday evening, so right, this is a week-long conference, starts on Monday, ends on Friday. I was kind of there for the minimum amount of time just because of the way my flights worked out. I came in very late Sunday evening, went straight to sleep in my hotel. Then conference started Monday morning, and I flew out Friday afternoon. So I had a full weekend on both sides, just about, which was nice. But yeah, there were a couple of sessions I wanted to see on Friday that I didn't get to, so I wished I had stayed just slightly longer. Anyway, but yeah, on Tuesday, after the second day, I was feeling my throat getting a little bit scratchy, and I was worried that I had caught whatever was going around there, because that's what usually happens. But that went away. I think it was just vocal stress from all the talking to people I had been doing. Sometimes when I go there, I have this sort of existential crisis, what am I doing with my life? All these people are making these amazing games. Where am I? Who am I? Etc. It just puts me in a weird state of mind. But this time, I didn't feel that at all. I just felt a sense of belonging. This is one of the places where I feel most at home, outside of my own actual home. It probably helped that I'm actually working on a game. I'm going to talk about that a little bit more later. Some themes of the conference in general. There were a lot of talks I saw about ethics in the game industry, mental health of like people who work on games. There's been a lot of industry talk lately about unions, like game developers forming their own union. I don't know a lot about that topic, but it is being talked about a lot. I don't consider myself part of the game industry. I'm a hobbyist developer. That's the word I was using this year to describe myself. You could say I'm an independent developer, but usually when people say that word, it refers to somebody who's trying to do it as a business. Someday I would like to support myself by selling games that I've written, but I'm not currently there and I'm not really actively working toward that, so I'm just calling myself a hobbyist for now. I go to this place because it's an environment with a lot of people like me, and I can have a great time, learn lots of stuff, and that's my reason for going. And again, just socialization. It's my one opportunity of the year to do that with a lot of people like me. Yeah, so time management was another big thing. It always is. This is an important topic to me. I've talked a lot about it, so I won't cover it more here. And discoverability, a problem that a lot of developers are facing is that the game market is just super saturated, and getting any kind of eyeballs on your own project when there are so many other vying for that same mindshare is really tough right now. So yeah, just a bunch of talks about those topics and how to deal with them. In talking to people and looking at like IGF entries and stuff, I ended up with a huge list of games that I need to look at more closely. So I was kind of there in two different capacities, both as a game developer and as a Let's Player. So I got to talk to a bunch of people about both of those topics. And yeah, so right, lots of games that might be good candidates for future LPs were discovered there. And yes, so I am working on a video game right now. I've kind of mentioned it in passing a little bit. Haven't talked about it too much publicly, though. This week was the most talking I had done about it ever. I realized that I was describing my game to a lot of people, and suddenly it felt very real. It's like, oh, many people suddenly know about this, or at least all the people I talk to. I better make sure I actually get it done, because it's suddenly a very real thing. I'm still not quite ready to really talk about it here in this public space, but short version. It's a puzzle game based on an RPG combat system, and it's early in development, and you know what? That's all I'm going to say about it so far. But I'm very excited about it, working hard on it every day, and it's getting there. I'll talk about it more when the time comes. Anyway, so puzzle games. Yeah, puzzle games have become a pretty big thing for me. I looked at my list of Let's Plays that I'm doing, and I'm like, oh, that's a puzzle game, that's a puzzle game, oh, this is what I do primarily these days. It just kind of happened somehow. And somehow I got involved in a puzzle games Discord channel, Discord server, whatever the terminology is for that. And they organized a dinner with a bunch of puzzle game developers. I think they were all game developers there. I mean, it's a game developers conference. That's what it is. So yeah, we had a super great time. That was really nice. Played each other's games, described them to each other, just hung out and socialized, and it was real nice. That was one of the highlights of my week. I agreed to become a tester for 2 different people's games. So that's a thing that I'm going to have to do if they get back to me at some point with builds. And I think I got some offers for people to test mine when I'm ready for that, but it's not at that stage yet. Anyway, yeah, so some interesting stuff I saw during talks. Am I going to start talking about this? I'm not super prepared, but I'll try and see what happens. So one of the talks I went to was from Jason Rohrer. He's the developer of 1 Hour, 1 Life and a bunch of other games. This is like his 19th game or something. I went to a really good talk from him the previous, last year about time management. again, time management coming up. He uses a lot of the same time management techniques that I do, and I got some good tips from him on like how to refine my process. It was nice. So, he is a voice that I respect a lot, and I was very interested to see his talk. So it's about his game, 1 Hour, 1 Life. Good analogy would be, to me, it looks kind of like Don't Starve. I haven't actually played it, though. So he describes it as an infinite unique situation generator. And his talk was a lot about, like, his game sales, how he found a business path to success, and one of his conclusions was that it is probably the best thing to make infinite unique situation generators now, rather than consumable games. This was a statement that I found kind of contentious, and apparently a lot of other people there did too, so that's a little bit of a controversial thing. I wrote him several paragraphs of feedback in the speaker evaluations that they give out after every session you go to there. Anyway, so I care a lot about consumable games. I think closure is important. I actually kind of burned out on infinite unique situation generators. Like, I don't play roguelikes anymore. I don't play building games, the Minecraft, Terraria, Don't Starve, those things. I just got tired of those, and I don't know. Anyway, so it's interesting that he found way more success with that than with something that would be, you play it for some number of hours and then you reach the end of it and then you're just done with it. Anyway, so that's an interesting topic. There are lots of conversations going on about that. I saw a talk from Bennett Foddy and Zach Gage about how important it is to put your name on your game, and they put their name on their talk. Anyway, so that was an interesting talk, but one thing that came up was Bennett Foddy's game, Getting Over It with Bennett Foddy, which he put his name on, was something that I mentioned in the last one of these that I did as something that I might like to stream at some point. What's funny about that talk is it actually came up that a lot of people like streaming this game, and he had kind of an interesting relationship with streamers of it. There's apparently a reward at the end of it, which he kind of gave away during that talk, which, when you get to the end of that game, it prompts you specifically to, like, click a thing to affirm that you are not recording or streaming for other people to see before you actually go and see the reward. Anyway, I won't describe what the reward actually is, but it was interesting that he has this weird relationship with people who stream his games, and that was something that I was planning to do, so I've kind of rethought that a little bit. I might still do it. We'll see, but it's a little bit more iffy now. Anyway, yeah, so that game is kind of, they would call it YouTube bait in a way, like one of those games that makes people angry and, they do what they do with it. I wasn't interested in it for that reason, and I think that was some of what he was saying about it. Like, he didn't want it to be seen as that sort of game. Anyway, Spelunky 2 was there. Spelunky has a sequel. There's a Spelunky 2 that's in development and has been shown around at a few shows. I went and got in line to play it. They had it set up in two-player mode, so pairs of people were coming up and playing. I didn't have a partner for playing, but when I sat down, I found Matt Thorson sitting next to me. So the two of us had a good time playing that together. So that was real nice. Didn't spend a whole lot of time talking to him outside of that, but we got to spend a moment doing that, and it was pretty cool. Tried to catch Zach Barth, developer of TIS 100, because he was there with Opus Magnum. That was an IGF finalist. Played that just a little bit, enough to confirm that I probably do want to do an LP of it at some point. But yeah, I tried to catch up with him, and he was never around in a place where I could catch him, so that was too bad. Greg Lobanov was there with Wandersong, another IGF finalist, and after the award show had happened, he actually switched the game at his booth over to Drawdog, which is a new thing that he was working on. So that was cool. I got to see his game in development a little bit. And like I said at the end of Wandersong, since that game was so good, I'm a lot more interested in playing more from the same developer. So I am watching that one closely. And then I had an interesting encounter with I don't know if you'd call him a celebrity, but that was my first inclination. So I saw somebody milling around the IGF booth and kind of looked in his face. It's like, is that Seth Bling? It was Seth Bling. So Seth Bling is a Minecraft YouTuber who I knew from years ago, didn't know personally until now, but kind of sort of had to think for a moment, like, do I have anything worth saying to this person? Should I even approach him? So it ended up that two of us had a conversation, and he's a cool guy. So this is what I'm talking about with like learning socialization skills. Like I had to think for a moment, because with some people I've encountered there who I don't know, just sort of intrinsically think of as celebrities in a way. I feel like I've had some bad interactions with people like that, so I'm very cautious now about approaching people who might have some sort of celebrity status. But anyway, so the two of us met and had a good conversation, and it was really cool. So yeah, he was there as sort of in a press capacity. He described it to me, and it was confusing. Anyway, but we had a good conversation, and it was really cool. Let's see. Yeah, met a bunch of other people. Old friends, new friends. Was really nice. I'm just going to skip this thing in my notes. Oh boy, I have so many things here. Right. I've been thinking for a while that at some point I'd like to actually give a talk at GDC. The topic that I'm interested in talking about is how to make your games friendly for Let's Plays. Because as both a developer and a Let's Player, I feel like this puts me in a not unique position, but an unusual position. There aren't a lot of people who are both at the same time. So I feel like I can have some possibly unique insights into things that can be done to games to make them more friendly for a Let's Play format. So at some point, I'm hoping to like put together a talk like that and, give it as a test to a smaller audience, refine what I'm going to say, and then submit it so that maybe I can be a speaker at that conference someday. That'd be cool. Anyway, but that talk is not ready yet. If I do that, it'll certainly end up on YouTube. So maybe my YouTube audience could be my first test for this. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, yeah. So that was the conference. It was a real good time. Definitely very glad I went this year. Yeah. So some non-conference business, other just general channel update stuff. Since I haven't done one of these in quite a while, actually. It was November last time. When I looked at the date, I was surprised at how much time had gone by. So, like, I moved to a new house last year, and then winter came, and, like, I'd been looking forward to spending some time outside here and doing a bunch of maintenance stuff, and the cold weather has kind of just kept me, like, hunkered down in here doing, like, very, I don't know, solitary indoor activities. So I feel like I'm just kind of, focused on this one little space. And once the weather gets just a little bit warmer, I'll kind of go outside more and do house maintenance stuff that needs to be done. And anyway, so I'm coming out of hibernation, I guess. Anyway, so other business. When I got done with, was it Donut County, I think? I posted a thing on my, did I talk about this already? I don't know, I might have. Anyway, yeah, so I made a YouTube community post polling for the next game to do. This was the first time I had done this. It was a relatively new feature. I don't know who saw this poll, but enough people did that it was... Anyway, I got some votes for which game to do next. What were the choices? It was TIS 100, which was the winner, and I'm very glad it was because that has been an extremely good choice for me. That game is like so far up my alley. It's just amazing. Like you almost could not make a game that's more suited for me than that. Anyway, so I'm glad that won the poll. Second place, I think actually no, it was tied with Below for first place. And that was actually the game that I had picked up first to start recording, but very quickly, that game made an extremely bad first impression on me, and I decided that it was not going to be something that I would let's play. Sometimes this happens. Wanting to go into LPs blind means that sometimes I'll choose something that just ends up not suiting me at all and have to scrap a recording session and go do something else. Anyway, so just saying I probably won't be LPing that game because it did not jive with me at all. The Messenger was my third choice. That one got fewer votes. The results of this poll were anything but decisive. All three were pretty close to tied. So at least that tells me that my choices were decent in terms of what people would want to see. Anyway, so the Messenger will still probably happen at some point. And I may run more of these polls when I have a spot that'll be opening up and am not sure what to put in it. That won't happen very often, but it might happen again at some point because that system seemed to work pretty well. Not everybody saw the community post, though. I have no insight into like how this is shown to people. But anyway, I guess like when an LP is ending, check my community tab in case I've posted one of those. That's my best suggestion because I don't know how else you find this if YouTube doesn't show it to you. Anyway, so the next time an LP ends, that will not be happening because my schedule's overloaded right now. I have 5 game slots going at this time. Because Baba Is You came up and I had to play it immediately for reasons that I gave at the beginning of that LP. So whenever one of TIS 100 or the Odyssey finishes, one of those is going to be the next one that finishes. The other one will take its slot, and I'll be back to 4 slots, doing the 2 per day thing again. So I'm going to see how that goes. Going back to how that schedule was before I had to discard it from just being way too overloaded. That was last year at some point, 2 years ago. How long ago did that happen? I have lost all sense of time, but you know the event I'm talking about. Had a really bad day, decided I needed to make a change, and I made a change. Felt a lot better about it, then slowly ramped up again, so I have ramped all the way back up to where I was before. And I feel okay about it right now. Like, I've practiced, so my executive functioning skills have been worked on during this process in terms of just like sitting down to get things done and actually meeting my commitments. What am I trying to say? My time management skills have gotten a lot better, and I made improvements to my recording process. Anyway, so like I feel like I have a little bit more capacity for getting things done, so I can fit the old amount and feel better about it. Although, really, I have a lot more than that because I'm also doing the Final Fantasy streams, so that's 3 extra hours twice a week. But somehow I'm making everything fit, so I guess I'll keep it up until it gets bad again. Let's not do that. I'll keep it up until I see signs that it might get bad again. Then I'll ramp things down if I need to. But for now, it seems okay, I guess. Yeah, I'm spreading myself kind of thin in a lot of aspects of life, not just this stuff that I'm doing. But like I'm tolerating it. You know, I am exercising my time management skills. So like I spread myself thin, but I learn to be. You know, I'm learning to deal with that, I guess. There are a lot of things that I want to get done, and I'm not willing to compromise on them. Although I guess one thing that I did end up compromising on was I don't really do dance game streams anymore. For, again, the like 4 people who are interested in those. Sorry, it's just not really fitting into my life at this point. I'm still playing the games, but the times when I'm playing, my stream PC is busy, or my internet connection is busy, or I just don't feel like I have the energy to like be in public while I'm doing that. And I realized that unlike the games that I sit down at a computer to let's play, streaming those doesn't really enhance my experience much. It does change the experience significantly if I'm commentating the whole time while I'm playing some other game, but like just dancing on a dance pad, talking to people occasionally if there are people in the chat, it's basically the same thing as what I would do on my own. So since that wasn't enhancing my experience much and I wasn't able to find the time and energy at the right time to be doing it, I just kind of decided to stop that. It might happen again sometime if I get in the mood for it, but, you know, don't really expect those to come back. We'll see. Anyway, my voice is giving out, so I better stop. Yeah, I can skip this last topic. This has been more than long enough already. Yikes! I can be very long-winded sometimes. All right, so let me stop before I say anything else. So, bye. Thanks for watching this. I'll see you again for another one of these sometime.